Rugby League match of the day, Balmain and Canberra out at Leichhardt Oval. Here's David Morrow.
Hello and welcome to Leichhardt Oval for this very important Winfield Cup match this afternoon between the Balmain Tigers and the Canberra Raiders. Canberra currently on a roll. Last week when they defeated St George, it made it 4 wins in a row, the first time in the club's history that they'd won 4 in a row since entering the competition in 1982. Balmain, on the other hand, of course, are in the middle of a very bad form slump. They've only picked up 5 points from their last 8 matches. Both sides are without their state of origin stars. Canberra without Belcher and Jackson, Balmain without Jack and Pearce. But perhaps Mike Stevenson, the biggest loss this afternoon, might be for Canberra, losing Brent Todd, their very good Kiwi forward.
Yes, they'll certainly miss him up front in the forwards, David, but let's not take away the fact that the skills of Belcher, they'll miss him also. But I think Balmain will probably suffer mostly because Gary Jack and Wayne Pearce, they really are the strong point in regards to the Balmain defence. It's been a bit dicky of late, and quite frankly, I think they'll miss it today, especially the cover tackling of Pearce.
Well, what about Canberra? They've never beaten Balmain since they came into the competition.
Well, this is probably their best chance, and they're very keyed up for it, revved up for this sort of game, and I think they'll come away with the points. They'll throw everything at Balmain because they're on a bit of a bad patch, the Tigers, and I think they'll throw everything at them in the first 15 minutes. If they get points on the board, they could win quite convincingly.
OK, join us shortly here at Leichhardt Oval when the Balmain Tigers take on the Canberra Raiders.
Thanks, David. Back to you, as you say, shortly. Our special guest today, a man who's been busting his way through opposition ranks for many years in the Sydney Premiership now, and indeed for the Australian side and the State of Origin side, but he won't be there this time. Noel Cleal, you're out injured, or you have been out injured for the State of Origin side, but you're playing for Manly tomorrow.
Yeah, Pete, the injuries have responded to a bit of rest, and tomorrow's the big day.
Well, it was the hamstring injury. You weren't picked for the State of Origin side, or you weren't fit?
Well, I think a bit of both. I don't know whether I was considered or not. Some say I wasn't, some say I was, but obviously they thought the selectors thought they couldn't go into the game with me being a little bit out of match fit. So instead of the embarrassment of me only lasting half a game or whatever, they've decided to overlook me. So, but tomorrow, you know, I've trained pretty hard over the last week, and it's a big game tomorrow, and I still haven't given up hope for the test and the game in the States.
Well, it is a huge game tomorrow, but probably more important for Canterbury than for yourselves. You're 4 points clear at the top of the table. They really have to win everyone from now, don't they? Yeah,
they're in the precarious situation where they're on a roll. They've had 4 wins on the trot, and they're desperate as well. So, you know, we probably couldn't struck them at a worse time. Admittedly, they got 3 in the State of Origin sides, but then again, we've got 6. So, you know, it evens it up pretty well.
Well, Manly have been on a roll this year, and you have in recent years, although injuries have struck you down a bit in the last 6 months. But we might just have a look at the Cleal style in full swing over the time and talk about perhaps your enjoyment of the game these days. Are you still enjoying it as much as ever?
Well, mate, I probably enjoy it more now than what I ever have because, you know, I know that I've only got a few years left in me, and you know, the first 5 or 6 years you take for granted, but now it's getting a bit longer in the tooth. You seem to enjoy it a little bit more.
It's like hard work, does it?
Well, training gets a little bit harder, but, you know, I still enjoy playing, and, you know, the friendship you get and the players, and obviously the financial dividends are rewarding as well.
And this injury here, did that set you back a lot? It took a bit of time out of your playing career, and there was me having a bit of a feel of that plate in your arm. And
yeah,
this was your return there.
Yeah, that was. I think I claimed a try here that wasn't mine, but taking it these days. Yeah, the broken arm set me back, but then again it sort of rekindled my love for the game because, you know, I've been out so long, and then coming back with you know, the season half over, it was pretty exciting to get back. Especially I played for 4 years or something without, excuse me, without an injury. So to get back was a great feeling.
And to go out there and get such a rousing reception from the Manly crowd, a beauty.
Yeah, they're good supporters, Manly, especially Brookvale, but unfortunately we get an away game. There's not too many turn up, but they're good at Manly.
Well, are they going to give Ron Gibbs that sort of reception this weekend?
Well, there's been talk of it, mate, but I doubt it because that's next year. No one's worried about next year. He's there this year. He's there to help us win the comp this year, or you know, something like that. And who cares about next year?
Was that just an unfortunate incident, do you think? The timing was very bad of the release.
It was very untimely, but on the same token, there's been a lot of guys change clubs mid-season.
Yeah.
Signed for other clubs mid-season and play out the rest of the year with their present club. But Ronnie just made a decision for the betterment of his life, and he can't really he can't help that it hit the back page of the papers or anything like that. That's not his fault.
And he's vital to your chances this year. And this game today, how do you see that going? Balmain and Canberra, we're just about to go out there.
Yeah, I have to say it's going to be a draw because they've lost, like, obviously 2 players each for the State of Origin sides, and Canberra losing Brent Todd. Well, you know, he's been the mainstay of their front row for the first part of the season. So, you know, I couldn't pick a winner.
Well, we'll have a look at the first half and see if Noel's on target there for the draw, and come back at half-time and have a look at a little bit more of Noel Cleale's career. But let's now go out to Leichhardt Oval for the match of the day, and it's good afternoon once again to David Morrow.
Thanks very much, Peter Wilkins, and also Noel Cleale back there in the studio. And out here at Leichhardt Oval, it's a beautiful day, really. It's a wind blowing. It's fairly brisk, blowing down the ground. But really, whenever we seem to come here to Leichhardt Oval, the Lord above seems to be very kind to us, because we always seem to come out here without a cloud in the sky, and we're in for what should be an outstanding game of football between two sides, certainly in the 5 at the moment, but no side at the moment, except for Manly, of course, could say that they're well and truly entrenched in the top 5. It's a big day for Benny Elias and David Brooks. Shortly there'll be an announcement concerning those two as they run through the big banner. They'll be leading on the Balmain Tigers this afternoon, despite the fact that Benny's captain. The reason being that Benny Elias and David Brooks today played their 100th first grade game for the Tigers, and that's a mighty achievement. But let's go down and find out what the conditions are like down on the ground. Good afternoon, Ian Hansen.
Thank you, Dave. It's certainly a fantastic day. The sun's shining, but it's a fur coat day here on the sideline in the shade of this Latcham Robinson grandstand. The wind is blowing very strongly from the southwest, and it's going to favour these teams running from this side of the field here, and could favour kickers like Scott Gale and also Chris O'Sullivan, who will, as we heard during the week, has been chopped and changed around, but it's been confirmed that O'Sullivan will play 5'8", with Ivan Henjak fitting the scrums.
And Chris O'Sullivan, another one who's already been well and truly through the 100-game barrier. He's playing his 124th first-grade game for Canberra this afternoon. And obviously talking there with Ian O'Sullivan and Henjak, the halves this afternoon. Henjak at half and O'Sullivan at 5'8", but O'Sullivan expected to feed the scrums. And I think this afternoon's game, though, Steve, really, as we were talking about earlier, that the forwards hold the key to it. And these Balmain forwards have been very disappointing in recent weeks. They look to me, and again last Sunday, as if they're a very tired lot. But David Brooks this afternoon will certainly add a lot of strength to them. And here they come, the Balmain Tigers.
They're known as the Tigers of Balmain, and after their successes in '86, certainly a team to be watched.
Well, there we are. They ran through that big banner that said Vote 1 Balmain, and on the other side it said congratulations to Benny and David Brooks for 100 first-grade games. In the backs for Balmain, Gary Schofield at fullback taking over from Gary Jack, and Peter Davies comes into the side on the wing in place of the injured Russell Gardner. The forwards, Hardwick and Lock instead of Pearce, and there's David Brooks back into the second row in his 100th first-grade game, returning after injury, and Paul Surinen's probably playing his last first-grade game unless he lifts his form today. I think he's got a huge question mark next to his name.
From the Australian capital, the Canberra Raiders, coached by Don Finn.
Well, here they come, the Raiders, led out there by Dean Lance, who didn't play last week against St George. And the last man coming out there, little Ivan Henjak, and he's certainly going to be a man to watch this afternoon. Les Morrissey coming into the side in the centres instead of Henjak. Henjak coming into half instead of the injured Kevin Walters, had to drop out of the side yesterday. And when we go through that forward pack, Lance coming back in at lock forward, and that front row, Bacco, Walters and Coyne. And obviously that front row with a big job to do this afternoon with Brent Todd on international duty. And Gary Coyne could well be the trump card as far as the Canberra Raiders are concerned this afternoon, especially in the light of the fact that Brent Todd's on international duty, and it's up front where Canberra have been getting on top recently, and if they can get on top there, they might well take the 2 competition points. And there they are, Benny Elias and David Brooks, receiving a big ovation here for their 100th first grade game. But we were talking about it earlier, Steve-O, that these forwards, they hold the key to the game, and early in the season everyone was talking about the outstanding backs. Graham Annesley, the referee that Canberra had, but the forwards have been the ones who've gone so well over the last month.
Well, they have, David, and they've based the foundation for their success. And in the same instance with the Tigers. They've had a big problem just of late with the fact that the forwards, they haven't been moving up as one unit and leaving the gaps. And a lot of pressure on these two Englishmen today, Lee Crooks and Gary Schofield. Schofield not best suited into the full-back role, in my opinion.
Well, there's the kick-off. It's Balmain who are defending that southern end of the ground, and it's Gary Schofield who's got the ball for the first touch of the afternoon. Up there affecting that tackle. Dean Lance involved. Gary has Hardwick running it away. And there's the first round result. Balmain defeating Canberra 26 points to 18. It was an incredible game of football that. Balmain got away to a big lead early on, and then Canberra came back. At one stage it looked as if the Raiders were going to get the 2 Winfield Cup points, but in the end Balmain got away, and it was at a time of the year when Balmain were really firing. And there they are, the Balmain Tigers, certainly the better attacking record of the two clubs. In recent weeks, Canberra have become the form side of the competition, and they've won 5 of their 7 away games this season. In fact, they've performed better away from home than down at Seaford. It'll be interesting to see how they go this afternoon. They've never beaten the Balmain Tigers since they came into the competition. Can they do it today? Brooks has the ball for the Tigers. He's 20 metres out from that Canberra line. Elias now taking it up this time. Big Bruce Maguire. He's only about 14 metres out. Neal. Now that's Scott Gale. Conlon. The short ball goes away to Crooks. You notice that Schofield was right there on the outside of Crooks. Back it comes to Gale.
That's an unusual tactic, David. Balmain there just going for the changeover. Really, they should have utilised a bit more than that. Gone for the kick.
Well, looking... Oh, they've got a chance here. Balmain, out it comes to Davies. Davies for the corner. Davies dives. Does he take the corner post? The referee looks across, and the touch judge has got his flag up anyway.
Well, this is a good play by the hooker. Elias pinching the ball. Lovely long ball out here to this Davies. He's a strong fellow. Look at the size of him. And it took 2 men to get him over there. So close. Another interesting aspect, David, was the fact that Lee Crooks was being used as a runner out wide. Not the fastest of forwards.
Henjack with the ball. Lance taking it up to Rowan Brennan. They're about 13 metres out from that Canberra line. And there's Sam Backo. He seems to perform well when we see Canberra play. And regarded by many as the best forward on the field, Sam Backo, in the Canberra victory over St George last week. O'Callaghan's kick, charged down by Elias. It's going to go sailing out over the touchline after being touched by Elias. And so the scrum will go down where the touch judge is going to put his flag up. Well, he hasn't put his flag up yet.
Well, he was lucky to get away with that. It was an awful kick by the fullback. At least they get the feed at the scrum.
O'Sullivan. O'Callaghan dummy half. And again, Canberra running it up through Lance. 10 metres inside Canberra's territory. Walters, Coyne. Away it comes now. Again, that time the second row at Gilbert's tackled, almost on the halfway line. Backo. And Backo's going to be asked to play it just inside Canberra's territory. Steve Walters in a dummy half. Sullivan going to put the kick in this time. It's a good one too. And Davies, I think, has knocked that ball on, but the referee said it's a knockback. Well, that was marginal, and it could easily have finished up being a scrum. And what's worse, it could have easily fallen for one of the Canberra players who was following that kick through.
Well, he certainly took a gamble here, David, and quite frankly, he did make the forward motion, but Annesley was nearer to the action than what we were.
Now Gale's going to put the kick in. Down over the quarter. Gee, that bounced high. O'Callaghan's back there. Coming through quickly is Davidson. Conlon's there, so too is Maguire. And it's Conlon and also Davidson who affect the tackle. 10 metres out from Canberra's line. That's Chris Kinnett. These two wingers have been in sparkling form for the Raiders as well, Kinner and Corkery. As Rowan Brennan runs it back almost to his own quarter line.
That's not surprising, David, with the form of Jackson of late. He really has been one of the form centres this year. They'll miss him today.
Coyne plays the ball. O'Callaghan, penalty against Balmain being inside the 5. Well, both sides employing the kicking game early on. It was interesting, though, last week, of course, when Balmain took on Eastern Suburbs. We saw, I think, almost 60 kicks in the game. It was an incredible game. In fact, there were more than 40 kicks in the first half, but that's a shock. O'Callaghan certainly hasn't taken his kicking boots out there with him. He's tried 2 kicks this afternoon. One charge down that he got away with.
Well, I think you'll find that both Ferner and Wayne Bennett will be quick to say to him, you've got one last go, son, otherwise we're going to change the kicker quickly.
He hasn't played much first grade the last couple of years, Steve O'Callaghan, but of course he was one of those that started with the Canberra Raiders back in 1982. Conlon, good ball away, that's Crooks. Crooks, look at that, there's Schofield, and Schofield's almost got his arms free to get it away to Davidson. You've got to watch Crooks and Schofield in combination. Davidson from dummy half. Now, that's Gale, the kick coming up. It's behind Corkery. He's getting back. Davies coming through. Who's going to get the ball? It's still loose. Anybody's ball. Elias has a go at it, and in the end, O'Callaghan got it for Canberra. Oh.
Well, they were very lucky there, Canberra. It was a beautiful kick right towards the right wing there. And it caught Canberra napping, David. There you see, now the wingman, the ball, it can go anywhere here. And very fortunate indeed. A loose ball, and any one of those, Elias could have scooped that up and trotted over easily for a 4-pointer.
In fact, the first man that could have got it was Gavin Hanrahan, but he just missed out. But here's a chance for the Tigers. Gale with it. Gale's got away from O'Sullivan, switched it back from Elias. It's gone away to Maguire. Maguire, well, good tackle in the end. Henjack, right round his bootlace. And I mean bootlace, because he didn't have hold of the other foot as Crooks takes it up. Crooks' one-handed pass finished up being gathered in on the other side by Davies. Elias. Now Sirinen. Sirinen's lost the ball. It's been stolen by Lance, but the referee's going to penalise him for it. And this is going to be the first chance for Conlon. 32 metres out, almost in front. He could put this over with his eyes shut. Lance is talking to the referee about the decision. He is the captain as well, Dean Lance, but he just wants to find out.
Well, it's obvious, David, that referee Annesley was shouting, held more or less at the same time that the ball was being reefed away from the Balmain player. And he's well within his right. Dean Lance is the only one that can not question, but shall we say, request an explanation.
There's no doubt, Steve, that earlier in the game, Lance stood there and watched Benny Elias do the same thing. I know it was under different circumstances. That's obviously what Lance was complaining about. And boy, what a game Lee Crooks was having. He's hitting the line hard, and if these Canberra guys don't put Crooks on the ground, he's going to create havoc out wide.
Couldn't agree with you more there, Ian. It's the fact that they're utilising Crooks out wide, which is most unusual, but they're trying to bring the full-back, his fellow Englishman, screaming through on the inside, and we saw there just a few moments ago that they've got to watch these two very, very carefully indeed.
Conlon, taking that, what's that, 33.5 metres out, right in front. And there's the kick, and it's a shocker. Well, Ross Conlon, of all people, probably the most consistent and best goal kicker in the competition, and he hits it as badly as that. Very unusual, but he's often produced a bad kicking game, and normally after missing his first one. So I hope that I'm wrong as far as Balmain fans are concerned, but he's certainly a confident goal kicker, as are most goal kickers, as Schofield runs it back to the halfway. Talking about the combination of Crooks and Schofield, we saw it often on the Great Britain tour, Mike. Some of the only times when Great Britain really threatened Australia was when Crooks managed to break the line, and there was Schofield trailing him through, and he scored a couple of tries off Crooks' passes in that first test at Manchester.
Certainly did, David. It's amazing to think that the Balmain players are probably a little bit slow to accept Crooks has to make that half break first. They have to come a little bit later than normal.
Good kick from Schofield there.
Certainly was. He positioned himself well. A bit of an outside spin on it. Beautiful position.
So this scrum going down just inside the quarter line area. down Canberra's end of the field, over on that scoreboard side, the eastern side. Hardly call that a scrum. Where's the ball? Penalty game for Balmain against Canberra for collapsing the scrum. This will put a bit of pressure on the Raiders.
Interesting to note, David, that Peter Davies, the winger for Balmain, is an ex-South Sydney player, and he's also got a tough guy image apparently, but he was on the bench for reserve grade for today's game before coming into the team for Russell Gartner.
Balmain with the ball, and that's Sheridan. Sheridan going straight through. Sheridan will score. Easy. 4-0. Well, they've caught them all napping there, Balmain, and if ever Paul Sheridan needed a confidence booster, that is it.
Have to agree with you there, David. He hasn't been playing the best of his football. A good, well-worked move here. Gale holding the ball up there. They took Benny Elias. And it's amazing to think a lot of these moves, the slower and the less complicated they are, that's all it was. He just held the ball up very slightly indeed, slipped the ball back inside, and what a great start for the Tigers.
And Paul Surinin's 6th try of the season, and it's great to see these Balmain fans cheering Big Ciro all the way to the try line.
Well, gee, what a confidence boost that'll be for him. He's really been, by his own admission, not playing as well as what he can. Anything's going to lift your confidence, scoring a try, brushing through a couple of would-be tackles, lifts it.
Certainly does, and I must congratulate their coach, Bill Anderson, because he's given him quite a few opportunities this year when it looked as though it was going to be drops.
So Conlon from just outside the quarter line, there's the kick, and he's missed another one. So Conlon, none from 2. We've had 11 minutes play, and Balmain are leading Canberra by 4 points to 0.
Just adding to that, the fact that Anderson, the coach, using a player that is well out of form and using him in a move like that, helping to build his confidence, certainly paid off today.
Gale gets the ball. Referee's ruled that a knockback. Now Davies has it. He's a very strong player, Peter Davies. Interesting to see that he was on the bench for reserve grade, but I'm just wondering whether really from the beginning of the week that they realised that Gartner would be up against it, and he'd probably been training with the first grade side throughout the week. Deserves his chance though, because he played pretty well when Anderson's called him into the first grade side this year. Bad football from O'Callaghan.
He won't shirk it, David. He's a very strong boy. He's a wingman.
Steve O'Callaghan, talk about confidence. He must be waning a little bit after 2 bad kicks, and that not a good attempt to try and trap the ball. Corkery has it now for Canberra. 13 metres inside Canberra's territory. That's Walters at dummy half. Now running it back is Rowan Brennan. 11 metres still inside Canberra's territory. They've hardly had the ball down the other side of halfway yet, the Raiders, as O'Sullivan's wide pass comes to Carey. Now Carey's got a lot of speed. He's got his pass away to Corkery. Corkery now centre kicks. I don't think the ball's going to stay in touch though. Out over the touchline. He tried to put that kick back onto the inside. You could see a couple of the Canberra players screaming for that. Don Ferner there. Won't see much emotion from Don.
Well, this was good play by Canberra. They used the forwards onto the right side, and then a quick link, got the ball out wide, created the overlap. A bad kick in the end, but the idea was there.
Balmain have got the ball. Davies has crunched into the ground there, just inside Balmain's territory. Neal. Now that's Hanrahan. Gale again. Crooks. He's got that away. Now finishes up with Davidson. Davidson versus Kinner. He's taken just inside Canberra's territory. Over in front of the Latcham Robinson stand as it comes from Elias away to Neal. McGuire taking it up. Coyne's there. Walters is there. And so too is Rowan Brennan. Elias. Now the little kick over the top for Schofield, but not really well directed that time, but the planned move was there.
Certainly was, but full credit to the replacement centre, Morrissey. He read that move. He could see Schofield linking through from the fullback position and drop back, anticipating the kick.
So Canberra have got it just inside, well, almost on the halfway line. Henjack, O'Sullivan. Now that's, well, he was going to throw the pass in the end, but Brennan decided to take the tackle. Fourth tackle. That came off a Balmain player as it was kicked by O'Sullivan. The touch has been found just outside the quarter line. Have a look. So the error's already mounting up against Canberra. It's quite certain that kick of O'Sullivan's touched the Balmain player in flight. Not much difference. Penalty's gone to Balmain, and they're going to get the ball back towards the halfway line and put more pressure on the Raiders.
Steve Walters, the hooker, looking at the referee Annesley in total dismay, saying that he never moved his feet. Gave away a penalty.
So almost on the halfway line. Brooks takes it up. Good defence that time. Backo there, and so too Brennan. Just inside Canberra's territory. Elias gets it away now to Maguire. And Walters is underneath. Somehow he played that ball. But the pass not so good. Crooks cleans it up now for the Tigers. Hasn't he been involved in the first quarter now? Elias. Conlon. Away it comes now to Hanrahan. Hanrahan's almost gone straight through. Good run from the Balmain centre. 33 metres out from the Canberra line. Neal. Away it comes from Elias. It goes to Crooks, and Crooks puts the kick in. Now that ball bouncing on the quarter line, picked up by Chris Kinner. And Kinner runs it back in field before he's met in solid defence by Maguire. Will fill that one. Carey, a dummy half. Now Lance got his pass away towards Gilbert.
This is good defence by Balmain. Something they haven't been doing in the last 2 or 3 weeks. They're moving up in one line. They're not waiting for the players to come to them. They're getting involved straight away.
Steve Walters from dummy half. This will be a good duel this afternoon. Steve Walters has played very good football for the Raiders this year. Henjack's kick down towards that Balmain quarter line. Getting back for it is Davidson. And Morrissey's up there to effect the tackle. Down on the Balmain quarter line, Schofield from dummy half. Morrissey's there again. He's got away from Morrissey. Good run, though, by Schofield. Hardly coming down the centre. Well, there's a huge difference between the defence of these two sides at the moment. Quick play the ball again by the Tigers. They sense they've got the Canberra Raiders on the rack here, I feel. They've got the ball back just inside Canberra's territory as Elias gets it away. It goes to Neal, to Conlon. Conlon gets the pass away. Hanrahan with it, and Hanrahan's going to get up and play it. About 12 metres inside Canberra's territory. Over on that eastern touchline, Elias again, the kick. The kick may be too deep. In fact, it will go dead over the dead ball line, and Canberra get the ball back and get a chance to regroup from the centre of their quarter line. But they were making ground at will there, the Tigers down the centre.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. It was the fact that chalk and cheese, really. The Balmain defence moving up quickly. Whereas Canberra, they're waiting back. They're allowing Balmain forwards to run to them.
There's no doubt, Steve, that they just can't allow Ivan Henyak to do all the tackling. He's the smallest man in the field. I think he's completed about 10 tackles already. These Raiders back rowers are going to start moving up in one line, hitting the Balmain Tigers.
There's O'Sullivan. And the kick in behind John Davidson. Now Davidson having to scurry back to get that ball, but in the end the bounce favoured him. He's a very consistent club winger, John Davidson. Doesn't make many errors. And when given the opportunity, normally puts the ball down over the line. Balmain with it. Schofield to play it just outside his own quarter line as Elias got it away now to Peter Davies. And Davies held up. That 30 metres out. Coming up to the 20-minute mark of the first half. Balmain leading Canberra 4 points to 0. Gale getting his kick in, down towards that quarter line again. Chris Kinner having to scurry back. Well, I thought he could have got that. He seemed to give up before the ball actually crossed the touchline. He did seem to have, I think he made an error of judgment about the bounce. Have a look at this again. See whether you thought that he could have perhaps got to this ball.
I don't think so, David. It had been a whippet to get this one. Look at it go. Jeez. I know wingmen are fast, but not that fast.
Righto. Into the scrum, and it's come out at Canberra's way, and the penalty's going to go Canberra's way as well.
Well, they're creating a bit of a problem, these scrums. A lot of penalties. Front row's having a little bit of problem. Well, it's getting to that point in the time of the game where Balmain, they've had all the possession, they've found the gaps, yet they've only put 4 points on the board. So their coach Anderson will be feeling a little bit frustrated. They've been by far the best side so far.
Lance. 10 metres still inside Canberra's territory. O'Sullivan taking up as Backo. Backo down to the halfway line. Walters. Now Henjak's kick. In behind Schofield. Schofield will have to go almost all the way back to his goal line to pick this one up. Carey's there. And Carey affects the tackle. 10 metres out from Balmain's line. Schofield plays it. Davidson decides to go from dummy half. And Carey again is the tackler. 17 metres out. Crooks from dummy half. All thought about throwing that pass. Now Elias into dummy half as Sirinen goes for a run, and Sirinen's hit there, and good defence. The two props were up there, but Carey also heavily involved early on. Gale now, look at Scotty Gale into a bit of space, then puts the kick in, which is what he was originally going to do anyway, and look at that, perfection. What a good kick. 14 metres out from Canberra's line.
Deserve every ounce of applause here. Beautiful step. Realised there was no way through there. Elected for the long kick. And look at this. Turn to the right.
Balmain playing a lot better than they have in recent weeks. Certainly much better than they did against Eastern Suburbs last Sunday. They're leading 4 points to 0.
A lot more urgency in their play today.
Just about to say, Ian Hansen was at that game last Sunday, and Ian, just what Steve-O said, the confidence seems to be there, and maybe that daylight training session when that Bill Anderson called on Wednesday might have done the trick.
Yes, certainly, David. It's about time too. I mean, the Balmain fans have been at their wits' end for the last 6 weeks, waiting for the real Balmain to emerge. And so far in the first 22 minutes of this game, they've certainly seen them.
Canberra with the ball midway half and quarter line, their own end of the field. Walt was a dummy half again. Now that's O'Callaghan. A good chasing from Neil. He put a lot of pressure on O'Callaghan again. It's not a bad kick he's got in, but he takes his time to put the ball onto his boot, doesn't he?
Very casual customer, this fullback for the Canberra Raiders this afternoon.
Davies now with the ball for the Tigers.
Big problem for the Raiders is that they've failed to get any possession in the Balmain half.
Crooks gets up and plays it almost on his own quarter line. Hardwick goes on his own. Hardwick to play the ball. Now that's Gale again, and Gale's got his kick in up over the halfway line. Kinner getting back. O'Callaghan coming across. O'Callaghan will get it. Down on the quarter line, Conlon, Davidson and Neil are all up there. He's got away from Neil. He's got the pass away to Kinner, who's got away from Hardwick. He's thrown the ball to Corkery. Now Corkery up towards the halfway line is going to be taken by Maguire. And that was good football from Canberra. Davies also involved in that tackle. The winger plays at the winger, Corkery to Kinner, and Kinner's going to be tackled almost on the halfway line. Raiders. Oh, that was a forced pass, and who's going to finish up with the ball? Canberra have got it. The referee's going to put the scrum down.
Well, I was just about to say that Canberra Raiders taking it very, very casual indeed. They haven't really gone for anything exciting. And what do we see? He tries to get the ball away when it really wasn't on.
And then you have a look at that again.
Should have been play on.
Should have been play on. It might have been a bit stiff there, but to the ref, you can't really blame the referee. I mean, all he saw was the ball come forward, and if he's on the other side of the ruck, then they might have seen Scott Gale's hand there, of course, be involved in putting that ball onto the deck. Balmain have got the ball 11 metres inside Canberra's territory. Elias, Schofield, and now it's with Gale. Down the centre came Sirinen. That was a beautiful tackle by Lance, right round the bootlaces. Elias from dummy half. Now that's Schofield. Schofield on his own, and another good tackle from behind. They're getting in behind the defence in the centre of the ruck here, the Tigers. Now it's Elias who put the kick in the end. Going high is Davidson. Kinner was there too. It's loose. Who's going to finish up with it? Balmain have got it with 6 to go, says the referee. As Kinner takes Davidson again, his opposite number, down on the quarter line. Canberra's end of the field, 10 metres in from touch. Away it comes from Gale. Now it's with Maguire. Maguire's held up almost in the centre of the Canberra 22-metre line. Brooks goes on his own from dummy half. Now that was Crooks, and away it went to Schofield. See, that looked forward from here. Elias, that flick pass away, it comes out of Gale, and Gale, all his supports overran him, and look at that for a beautiful sidestepping run, and now looking for support, he finds Elias, out wide it comes to Conlon, he almost knocks it on, Conlon keeps it going to Davies, Davies for a corner, and he scored. Good football.
Good play by Balmain, but woeful defence. The Canberra Raiders just stood there and watched that passage of play. They really were looking for the kick. It was a frustration flick pass by Elias. Now watch Gale throws the dummy, steps. They get hold of him here, but look, they just stand off him. What's he going to do? One of the players, oh, it really was bad defence, but good play by Conlon. He drew the man just enough, and good play by the winger. Now you'll see him step here. Now watch the Canberra Raiders. They stood there. What's he going to do? Oops. This is what he's going to do. Hanging off all the time. Just enough room. He drew the wingman in, and good play by the strong wingman.
And Peter Davies' third try of the year. He's first in first grade, and a super try for the Balmain Tigers.
In fact, it's not his first in first grade. He scored 3 this year. He scored 2 as a replacement. You might remember Ian, of course, against Canterbury Bankstown when he replaced John Davidson.
I must have been overseas or something.
It was at that game when Gillespie was sent off, the second one. Here's Conlon from the sideline. That looks to be a better looking kick, but again, he's missed it. At least that one seemed to be well struck. So Balmain in front, 8 points to 0 after that try scored by Peter Davies.
And they fully deserve to be 8 points up, at least, David, that they fully control this game. Canberra having problems to work out their possession, not respecting it.
And there's a kick and a mistake from Balmain.
And how many times do we see that?
See, we've seen it a lot more this year, I think, than we have in recent years. Indecision from kick-off.
Well, it's the adrenaline running through their bodies, thinking that we've got this game well and truly in the pocket. They're still thinking about the try, and they should be getting on with the next passage of play.
Neil to put the ball into the scrum. 10 metres out from the Tigers line. There it goes, and Neil's got it. And he's tackled by Lance. And Davies goes from dummy half. The try scorer. Plays it ahead. No marker. He slipped it away. Oh, Hanrahan almost missed that. O'Sullivan almost grabbed that for the Raiders. Elias. And Elias's kick is a big one. Down towards the quarter line. End over end it bounces. Will it find touch? No, O'Callaghan will get it. Up there quickly, Gale, and Neil's also there. And he's got no one back there in support, O'Callaghan. And that's been the difference besides the defence, Steve. The kicking game. Balmain have kicked to perfection.
They certainly have, and they've pinpointed their area, what they wanted. Good kicking both by Elias and Gale. They realised that the fullback O'Callaghan, a little bit shaky, and another mistake by the Raiders, and they're going through the horrors. Missed tackles, 10. It tells its own story. You cannot afford that sort of slip-shot tackle.
Well, now the Tigers have got another chance here. That's Condon with the ball on the Canberra quarter line. 12 minutes left in the first half. Schofield from dummy half. Away it went from Crooks. Now goes to Hardwick. Hardwick tackled 18 metres out. Morrissey caught one in his face there as Hardwick got up. Elias into dummy half. Trying to get their legs up. Who wants to lead? Elias, now they were going to work that with Sirinen, and Elias decided to hold on to it. 10 metres out from Canberra's line. Neil, Scott Gale with the ball. Back on the inside, he threw the pass. It's gone loose, and O'Sullivan's got it. But the referee's ruled it came off O'Sullivan's arm. Well,
it probably did, but a little bit unlucky there, because this inside pass definitely was going to be forward. No doubt about it. Looking for it. And there you see, Crooks had overrun the pass, and they were looking to get away with that knock-on.
So Balmain with the ball, and Crooks' pass finds Conlon, and he's got it away, but it's loose, and now Canberra have got the ball, and a bit of luck goes their way as the ball's run back towards their own quarter line. It comes away to Henjak. Now Henjak's out of one. Henjak, can he get away from Sirinen? No. It was a forward pass that was in it. There's no risk about there being a forward pass. But Paul Sheridan across there in cover, and if he hadn't been there, it would have been a 6-pointer, I'd reckon, to Canberra, because there was nobody at home behind this man.
Beautiful cover tackle, and that'll help build his confidence. We said before the game that they'll miss Wayne Pearce's cover tackling. Well, they certainly don't if Sheridan continues in that vein.
So they've got the ball again here, the Tigers on the halfway. But I can assure you, if Henjack had got round Sheridan there, he would have been in under the posts. And Davidson, good run from the winger, taking a bit of pressure off the forwards, and he's got it. 10 metres inside Canberra's territory. Elias at dummy half. Brooks. Don Ferner there looks to be pretty worried too. And why not? They're 8 points behind at the moment.
He's every right to, David. He'll get a few more grey hairs before this game's over, the way that they're hanging off.
And out wide, Neil still going. The ball comes back to Conlon, and he's lost the ball forward. And isn't Ross Conlon causing them some headaches out wide as well?
Well, allowing him so much latitude. They're just hanging back from him. And he's one of those very casual-looking centres, awkward to pick out. There again, just frustration. These should be points on the board.
Penalty against Balmain.
No doubt about it. And this is one of the main reasons why the international board has mooted to get rid of the second marker. I applaud them. It's about time.
So there's touch being found just inside Canberra's territory. The second kick to be taken, 10 metres in from that scoreboard touchline as Bacco goes ahead. A few metres Balmain side of halfway. It hardly had the football in this part of the field at all, Canberra. Coyne. Now going down the centre is O'Callaghan, and the fullback's taken. About 34 metres out. Walters, as the ball comes back the other side now and going. Oh, it was almost given away to Gilbert, but Brennan taken there. Gets up and plays it. O'Sullivan. Morrissey. And Morrissey just ducks his head down. Decides to just run it a few metres closer to that line. O'Sullivan, not sure what he's going to do. Puts the little kick in the end. Now the ball's going to get into the in-goal area. Schofield gets there first as O'Sullivan was coming through quickly, and so too was Kinner. And Schofield had to hurriedly kick that ball over the touch-in goal line. Good thinking from O'Sullivan. He was cornered here, but look how smart he thinks, and almost brings off a sensational try.
Beautiful little chip through. While you're looking for O'Sullivan, watch for a Kinner. And it was desperation by the fullback Schofield to get there on time.
So the first attacking opportunity for Canberra, and now a little bit of pressure goes off the Raiders, although that's an incredibly good drop out. That's landed on the full, up over the halfway line. And there's some good defence from Brooks to finish it off. It's all right to have a good kicking game, but you've got to have good defence to go with it. And now they've made the blue, which means that Canberra can kick the touch and put a bit of pressure on the Tigers.
Well, he'll be kicking himself, Brooksy. He made a great tackle. And just the odd pull on the leg as he was about to play the ball gave away the silly penalty.
So there we are, Balmain leading Canberra, 8 points to 0. 7 minutes left in the first half. The Raiders have got it. At 26 metres out. Brennan on the quarter line will get up and play it. Steve Walters a dummy half. He slipped over as he went to get that. He's managed to get away with it. The simplest of things, and look at that, he's pinched 5 metres. Coyne. Now Lance, quickly away it goes to Bacco. Bacco's got it away to O'Callaghan, and O'Callaghan's got to within about 8 metres of the line. Walters from dummy half. Walters has kept the ball in play. It's been knocked on, or has it, by Dean Lance? The referee says yes. And so Canberra, the opportunity goes out the window for the time being.
Well, it was only a small one. They don't have to be big. There you see, skipper Lance.
Well, it was just a matter of whether it come off his hand or come off his knee when the ball came back on the inside, but the referee was right there. Balmain with the ball. Elias just outside his own quarter line. Crooks takes it up. That looked marginally forward as well, but that one definitely was. Well, if the first one wasn't, he's been pinged on the second. They've missed a few forward passes there today.
Well, Annesley was right there on the spot. That looked shady, and this definitely looked more than shady. He'd no option but to blow that one up.
Canberra with the ball. O'Sullivan. Penalty against Balmain being offside. Now, what are they going to do here, the Raiders? O'Sullivan is going to kick for goal or what? Someone's saying it's a scrum penalty. I was just wondering, though. I thought that he seemed to indicate that it was offside in the back, but...
No, definitely a differential penalty signal, David.
Well, that clears that up. Certainly can't kick the goal when it's a differential penalty. As Bacco takes it up, and Bacco's gone straight through. He's still going. He's looking for a runner. He's found Henjak. Away it comes down the end of Morrissey. Morrissey's looking for another runner. The ball's loose. It's still loose. It's been dived on by Balmain. And it's going to be a knock-on, but that should have been a try. Someone should have backed Bacco up to start with, and that would have been a try. And then that was good defence which prevented it.
Well, it's a strong run by Bacco. All the time in the world, Henjak followed through. Beautiful overpass there. Now this is where the wingman, Morrissey, couldn't get it away in time. And that's one that they've lost.
Well, they've still got a chance here, the Raiders. They're down on the Balmain line. Kinner's only a few metres out. It's Walters a dummy half. Walters on his own. It goes to Coyne. Coyne's almost forced his way over. He's about a metre out. Walters moves to dummy half again. Lance goes the other side as it comes away to Henjak. Henjak throws the dummy. Good defence from Sirinen. Now Walters on his own. Sirinen again affecting the tackle. Last tackle against the Raiders. Henjak's in a dummy half. Henjak tries the little grubber kick, but back there Benny Elias does the good work for the Tigers and runs it 10 metres back into the field of play. Good anticipation from Elias. Almost read exactly where the kick was going, and that's why he was there.
Certainly was. Beautiful play by the skipper for today. Playing his 100th game. We'll see Henjak, little chip through, but the mind of that hooker was working well ahead of Henjak.
Now the kick downfield by the Tigers is gathered in by O'Callaghan. And the Balmain, the Raiders fans have taken a little bit of heart from their performance over the last 5 minutes, but I'm certain that John Fernand would like to see them go in at half-time with at least 2 points on the board as they can get a penalty goal.
By the same token, I think Bill Anderson would be a little bit concerned. They've had all the possession for most of this first half, and it's only 8-0.
Well, they've got it back again there. And there's a player down injured. Hardwick down hurt. And the referee asking the play to continue. Now, this is the new rule, the experimental rule, which starts this weekend. And that's the first time we've seen it. The International Board meeting in New Guinea during the week said that if a player, such as in the case of Hardwick, is tackled in possession of the ball and then is down injured, he must release the ball. And another teammate, as in the case of Lee Crooks, plays the ball and play continues.
Well, I wonder how long it's going to take them, David, to use that as a ploy 5 metres from the line.
O'Callaghan with the ball. Well, at least we see football the whole time, Steve.
Yes, I don't agree with it. I don't disagree with it, should I say.
Now, good run from Corkery. 10 metres out from the quarter line as Coyne takes it up. Oh, look at that over the top, Sirinen. Brooks underneath. O'Sullivan. Now the ball's come across the back line, but again, the second row is in there in the back line. That's the Rowan Brennan there. And Brennan a bit tardily getting to his feet. O'Sullivan's kick, finds touch. The referee ruling there came off Davidson, so Henjak will put the ball in the scrum. Must have just touched the back of his jumper. You saw Davidson try to take evasive action. Must have just glanced the jumper. O'Sullivan with the ball, quick hands, it goes to O'Callaghan. They've got a chance here, the Raiders. They're over the halfway. It comes to Carey. Carey's very quick, so is Corkery. Corkery for the corner. He's away from Schofield. Cross there is Davidson. He's in. Is he? Let's wait for the referee. He's given a penalty for a double movement. Oh, what a splendid piece of football. But how unlucky for the Raiders that it had to end like that.
This was superb football by the Raiders. Good play by the wingman. Anticipation there, just slowed down at the right time. spun the man away, no doubt about it. There you see him reaching over. Tried to sneak it in. The referee was too quick. But that was brilliant football.
So there we are, Balmain again under a bit of pressure and coming away with the ball. Well, this game is far from over if Canberra can put it together like that in the second stanza.
Well, going at half-time, the Raiders were full of confidence. That's the fourth time that they've broke through the Balmain defence.
And now a lovely pass from Sheridan. Brooks up to the halfway. Brooks looking for support. He's found it in the end in Davidson, and Davidson's going to be tackled 10 metres inside Canberra's territory. Some of the Raiders taking their time to get back, but the siren's gone for half-time, and the players will go in and listen to the respective coaches for 10 minutes. We'll go back and listen to some of the words from Peter Wilkins, and also Noel Cleal will be back for the second half shortly.
Thanks, David Morrow, Mike Stevenson and Ian Hansen back there shortly. Well, while the players are soaking up a bit of refreshment, let's take a refresher on the week in league.
Slippery new balls at Endeavour Field meant multiple mistakes. A mozza by Penrith contributed largely to the Sharks' easy win. For Parramatta, crunch time on Sunday, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. In the grand final replay, Canterbury's defence and their constant hammering of the Eels line brought up a conclusive victory.
Terry Lamb, Peter Mortimer, he's broken the tackle. Oh yes, that's a good one.
The season's leading try scorer, Terry Lamb, was at it again, and that Canterbury machine rolls on.
We're hoping to make the top three, and we're striving for that. We can't afford to lose one or two games. We've won 4 in a row, Manly won 9, and we hope to stop them at the moment.
To the changing face of the SCG, or rather the changing faces of the players on it. Sunday, East's romped away from Balmain.
Tobin's in right next to the upright.
But this late try in the stickiness and a subsequent conversion put the Tigers ahead by a point with only minutes remaining. Tony Melrose saved a lot of mud in the eye for Easts.
It's 12 all.
Sunday was sticky, Monday sloppy to the extreme, and a fair case for not playing the game at all.
Coleman, down to Ellison. Oh, Ellison's going to score, I think. Yes, he is.
For the record, it was 4 apiece, but who was playing? Next year, it's next door at the new sports ground. There's plenty of new faces in the New South Wales State of Origin side. Not that new, and some old faces in relatively new positions. Michael O'Connor is back in the centres with Brett Kenny.
You know, he's a natural player, naturally gifted player. He knows how to read the play, to draw into defence and make the most of the opportunities when they arise, and invariably gives a good pass. So I think he's very good.
There's a strong representation from the in-form Manly side, but missing out on selection once again, tough as teak second rower Ron Gibbs, who dropped the biggest league bombshell of the week on Thursday, as Gordon Bray reports.
Life in 1987 for Manly has been a joy. 4 points clear in the Winfield Premiership, and all systems go for the grand final. That all changed last night when Secretary Doug Daly received a phone call from outstanding forward Ron Gibbs. His message was reflected in today's press. An alleged $200,000 contract with the new Gold Coast club, despite assurances by Gibbs he would not make a decision before discussion with Manly. Stunned coach Bob Fulton summed up the feelings of his players.
Oh, it's a bit of a joke, I suppose. You know, I mean, what else can I do? I mean, they're not going to sit down and cry, or, you know, I mean, there's a job to be done and we'll do it.
The Gold Coast Consortium now has 20 formal signings, but only a handful are so far public. But Manly, it seems, is safe from further poaching, as all top players are contracted, apart from Chris Close, who's asked for a special release to play with Gold Coast. As for Gibbs, his immediate assignment now is Canterbury on Sunday and the Brookvale Oval crowd.
The last time he played here, it was a standing ovation for him when he came off, and when I left this club, the next time I set foot on Brookvale, I was booed myself. So let's see, 4:30 Sunday, time will tell.
Brisbane Warren Boland.
Amid a financial crisis, the Brothers players, subject of many Sydney offers, found it just wasn't their week. In a late charge against Winner Manly, Brothers surged to the front and their fans popped the corks of grand final revenge.
Back, Gill picks it up, throws it dummy, stretches and he scores! The scores are locked up! The game doesn't finish on the hooter, of course.
But sometimes the game isn't over until after the final siren. Colin Scott needed this kick to snatch a draw.
He hits it right on the post. Brothers are still playing. They'll go up to the ball. Ball pushes him down. Scott will score it. The referee stops the try. The try to Winner Manly after the siren. A little ball. Well, that's unbelievable. Winner Manly jumping for joy. What a decision from Eddie Ward to make.
On Tuesday, the drums of war sounded a warning. Beware the Kiwis.
Harvey. It's gone through Cooper.
The New Zealanders revealed a battery of new guns that convincingly outplayed the inexperienced Queensland team, which featured only 6 State of Origin members.
Score. They won't stop the King. He's over.
Led forward by Adrian Shelford, the Kiwi pack was keen and powerful, frustrating Queensland and allowing winger Mark Elia to take full advantage.
Oh, that's off a mistake. That was a knock-on.
The backs were creative and fast, with centre Mark Iro showing true class. The long white cloud smoke signals gave a clear message. Aussies who treat Kiwi testers a hungy end up in the pit.
I think they surprised a lot of people. Their fitness, I think, was the thing that stood out most, and their confidence as well, because they certainly approached the game very well, and they started off very quickly, which New Zealand normally do, but managed to keep it up for the full 80 minutes.
Well, the game in Brisbane last weekend was a beauty. All the players behind the goalposts cheering with the missed kick, and then the next moment, despair. Our special guest in the studio is Noel Cleal. Noel, we saw Coach Bob Fulton there, pretty flippant about the Ron Gibbs episode. He seems fairly relaxed at this time of year. Does he translate that into your training sessions, or does he give you a fair workout?
Oh, no, obviously we've got to do the hard side of it, but most of our training sessions you get a fair giggle out of it.
And what's the important thing for him to take you through to the grand final, hopefully in a victory? You've obviously got the side. What's he trying to put into the players at the moment?
Well, no more than normal, Pete. We've sort of just taken along at a pace that obviously suiting us at this point in time, but it's no different. You know, we're still just doing the same as we normally do.
And you were last weekend when you had the bye. You went back up country for a bit of rest and relaxation, giving the shears a bit of a workout, dare I say, another shearer in the Manly side there.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I did go to Warrior for the weekend, chased a few pigs and seen my family. It was, I haven't been up there since I started playing back, so it was a very relaxing weekend.
Well, it seems like a bit of a training session in itself in some parts of Warrior.
Yeah, I was there too.
Well, speaking of training, I understand you've got a new job at Channel 10. Does that cut into your training at all?
No, they're quite good to me. I get to get away for all training sessions, and it's a great job. I enjoy it, and I hope to make something out of it.
So it's not that demanding?
No, they're a great club to work for.
Good on you. And I understand the deciding State of Origin match. Of course, you won't be there, but the first one up at Lang Park, you had quite a bit to do with this particular try here from Michael O'Connor. Do you think New South Wales are going to adopt these sort of tactics again in the decider, to the free-for-all sort of approach?
Oh, mate, I you know, with the changes in the side, obviously all the guys are in good form, but really a week's not a long time to get too tricky about doing a lot of things. So, you know, I think New South Wales will just stick to the fundamentals and the basics and just try and go on with it from there.
And they didn't leave you alone in this particular incident here. You went pretty close to scoring this one.
I thought I did. I claimed it anyway, but obviously, you know, so many players around, it's very difficult to see.
And Quill appealing there. All sorts of appeals going on, but no, referee Mick Stone says they held him up for the ball.
Well, we discussed a bit of the origin before the match and why you won't be there, but you know, you're disappointed to be missing out on it.
I am, Pete, in the sense that I think I could have contributed something, but on the same token, they had to pick a side that had been playing, and which they have done. They picked a side on form, and someone suggested I was out for 6 weeks, well, it was only 4. So, you know, maybe if we didn't have the bye last weekend, I could have been in the side, but that wasn't to be.
What do you think New South Wales need to do to win this one?
Well, mate, the last 3 years has been very little between the two sides, with only a try being the difference. And you know, I think the side that plays with the most luck, and like good sides play with a lot, you know, make their own luck anyway. But I think, you know, luck's going to play a very big part in it.
Well, we wish the New South Wales side good luck, and you good luck in your match tomorrow against Canterbury. That'll be a tough one. As usual for all our guests, we give them a little gift from the ABC shop, and this is the path to victory selected by Noel. Mark Ella with Terry Smith, Wallaby Power in the 1980s. Thanks very much for coming on the show. Good luck with the hammy, and I hope it doesn't reoccur again.
Thanks, Pete, and I'd just like to pay the compliment by saying that the people at the far west of the state, or in the remote areas that don't have commercial television, this is their only insight to rugby league, and it's great to go up there and know that you can sit down Saturday afternoon, have a cold can of beer and watch the footy.
Good on you, Noel. Thanks for the plug. We can do with all that. All right, Noel Cleal, let's now go back to the action. For all those viewers out in the country as well, it's the Balmain-Canberra match. Balmain in front at half-time. Let's go back to David Morrow at Leichhardt Oval.
Thanks, Peter, and Crusher there in the studio. Of course, Crusher's also referring not only to many of his family and friends at Warrialda, but Les is up there at Gundawindi these days, and his side takes on St George at Gundawindi tomorrow, and should they win, Les Cleal finishes up with another minor premiership. Of course, he's won the last 2 years with Tumbarumba, and he's won premierships with Sawtell, Scone and Wandai, so I think it's going to be a big weekend for the Cleal family, and we know we've got a huge audience throughout the bush.
Unbelievable record, though, isn't it?
It is an unbelievable
How many
record.
years has he gone now without being undefeated?
Hasn't been, well, he lost a few games with Widnes, of course, when he was playing over there, but as a captain coach in New South Wales, because when he was younger, a lot of people suggested it was because he had a little brother called Noel in the side, but hasn't had him at Tumbarumba or at Gundawindi.
I'm sure he's big enough to threaten them all.
He's bigger than Noel. Yeah. He's probably up there having a couple of those cans this afternoon, or maybe he doesn't let them have a beer on a Saturday. Maybe they're only allowed to celebrate after winning on Sundays. Maybe that's the key to his success.
Maybe.
If he catches them having a drink because of his size, he's fairly imposing. Laurie Nichols there offering some instructions to Benny Elias as the Tigers come back out. In fact, the two boys leading the tackle count for Balmain this afternoon, the 200 game boys, Brooks and Elias. And Ivan Henjak has been he's come up with 11 tackles so far, and Dean Lance is the leading tackler in the Raiders outfit. And speaking of Dean Lance, there he is in the headgear, leading the Raiders back on.
They're certainly not out of this game, David. They showed in the last 7 minutes of the first half what enterprising football they can produce. And this could go anyway.
And there we are, some of those big tacklers. Harvick's up there with 16.
Isn't it amazing that the inclusion of David Brooks, not only has it stiffened the Tigers' defence, but it seems to have lifted his second row partner Paul Sirenen, definitely having his best game for many, many a day.
And Harvick also in there. Of course, he's in the side instead of Wayne Pearce. Not of course he could dominate like Wayne can, but I'm certain that Wayne would be pretty happy sitting up there knowing that Kevin Harvick's doing a sterling job. Now there's the restart, and Callaghan takes it in the end goal area. It'll be interesting to find out what happened in the dressing rooms at half-time. We might go down to Ian Hansen in just a moment. Canberra with the ball. They run it back towards the quarter line. Let's go down to Ian and find out what happened at half-time.
Thanks very much, David. Yes, there's been a change in the Canberra Raiders team. Rowan Brennan is off with an arm injury. And his place has gone to a Queenslander, Steve Jackson from Mackay. And Don Ferner wants to see his defence improve a hell of a lot around the rucks and get the ball out wide to his wingers, Corkery and Kinner, who we saw in action late in the game in the first half. Chatted to Balmain skipper Wayne Pearce, who of course is in the grandstand today, but Wayne wants to see his players move up as well around the rucks and get the ball to Scott Gale. And Bill Anderson said that he's very happy with the way Paul Sirenen's going, but they can play a lot better.
Well, Canberra with the ball, and that's Henjak kicking for touch, and he's found it. About 12 metres inside Balmain's territory. And the scrum will go down 10 metres in from the touchline here on the grandstand side of the field. Steve Jackson playing in Guernsey number 23 out there for the Canberra Raiders. Balmain have the ball. Now that's Gale. The pass comes away to Conlon. Conlon back on the inside, or he's got through Morrissey and he slipped it away to Hanrahan. Hanrahan, good running from him. Morrissey's come back to redeem himself, and look at that back-slamming tackle. Schofield to Crooks. Crooks, he's got the pass away. Neal's gone without it, and O'Sullivan scooped it up for the Raiders. He's dangerous, O'Sullivan, from broken play, and look at that, the way he just scurried away and gained 12 metres after that mistake. Walters and the Canberra hookers got the ball 32 metres out from Balmain's line in a dummy half. Well, coming away with it now is Coyne, and Coyne is hit in solid defence by Brooks. Back goes the dummy half. Open side, it comes away to Henjack. On it goes to O'Sullivan from Carey. Carey puts the kick in. Now coming across is Schofield. The ball will beat them all across the touchline, though. Only 9 metres out from Balmain's line.
That was a good kick by Carey. He noticed that there was a big gap there. As we said before the game, David, that Gary Schofield not really comfortable playing in the fullback role. He's by far a better centre.
Well, Balmain have got the ball. A bit lucky to get away with it. And Davidson now going to play it on the second tackle. Gary Coyne was sitting on the ground for a few moments too after that last scrum. But Balmain with it. That's 14 metres out from their own line. Taking it up now is Crooks. And Crooks has got over got through that first line of defence and over the quarter line, but just couldn't get the ball away. Hanrahan was there. Penalty against Canberra. Up inside the 5. Well, very keen to get up and put pressure on Balmain, forcing them to kick on the last tackle. There's Don Ferner, the Raiders coach, along with Wayne Bennett.
No doubt, David, he would have told his charges to move up there instead of waiting back, hanging back and letting the players run to them. And it caused a lot of problems in the first half. A lot of gaps were being found by the Tigers.
8 points to 0 the score in favour of Balmain as Conlon's tackle just inside Canberra's territory. Hardwick goes from dummy half, and Hardwick pinches another few metres. 12 metres Canberra's side of halfway. Elias at dummy half. It comes away to Gale. On it goes to Crooks. He holds the pass up for Schofield. That was well read. It was Henjack who chopped the English import down. 35 metres out as Sirinen goes hard. He can't get his pass away. Fourth tackle against the Tigers. Elias. Gale. Gale decides the little chip and chase is on, but Henjack, the sweeper's back there. And Henjack has it for Canberra just outside his own quarter line.
Well, Henjack once again. Johnny on the spot, ready beautifully. Knew the kick was on, timed it to perfection.
Well, that was a good tackle that time by Crooks on Coyne, and Crooks finished up picking up the dregs, and Balmain got a chance here. It comes away, good run. Look at Scotty Gale. Oh, sheer unadulterated class. That was sheer brilliance from Scott Gale, the way he stood up the Raiders' defence after the bad mistake. A good piece of defence affected by Crooks, and he went on with the job. The quick hands, that look at this class of Scott Gale.
Beautiful pass here from Conlon. Allowed him, but it was a beautiful instep here. Bit of Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers in that. And that really is what the doctor ordered. They spun the ball out wide. It came from... They got possession from a beautiful tackle by Crooks on Coyne, but it was that little step that made it all the difference.
And Scott Gale's 8th try of the season, dazzling footwork from the Super Tiger.
Call him hoot. He certainly hooted along then. The Canberra Raiders, very despondent. They came here today seeking their 5th win in a row. Even though they're not out of it at the moment, it's going to take a Herculean task to get back into the game now. If the Balmain Tigers have got their confidence up. Conlon hasn't been successful today yet. Moves in. He's got that one. 2 points for the Tigers, and so Balmain slip away to lead the Canberra Raiders by 14 points to 0.
Pretty difficult task ahead of the Raiders now. But full credit to the Balmain side. There's the Tiger. He's excited. And why not?
Of course, the Raiders, without their state of origin sides like the Tigers, but they're also without Brent Todd. And Mal Meninga was going to be returning today, but was ruled out on Tuesday afternoon. And without Belcher, Meninga and Jackson, the Raiders lose a lot of their scoring potential. In fact, those three between them have scored 121 of the Raiders' points this year. Gale, the kick. Kinner getting back for it. Oh, he took that well because he was looking across into the sun, and that's why he was very indecisive as that ball was coming down. That was well taken. That looked pretty easy, but really I can tell you that the ball was coming straight out of the sunlight.
Let's have a look at this again. Good play by hits the deck, keeps possession.
Canberra with the ball just inside Balmain's territory, desperate for a six-pointer to get back into the game. O'Sullivan away from Elias. He's kept it going. He's got it to Backo. Away it went though to Henjack, but that was beautifully read by Conlon. He was up quickly to effect the tackle. The ball's played and Backo goes on his own. He's still going, Sam, but he's not making much progress.
Well, the Raiders have to realise that they've found the gaps out wide against Balmain. No point trying to take it on down the middle, using the forwards, spinning out wide.
There was the kick put in by Henjack, and that's Davidson who has it. He's got it back to the quarter line. Schofield from dummy half.
Well, Balmain will be looking for the kick right downfield.
Crooks is going to be asked to play it just outside his own quarter line. The kick's on this time, or is it? No, Brooks decides to charge the line. This time we'll see Elias spin the ball either to Sirinen. That's the option he took. He had the two options, Sirinen coming down the centre. He had Schofield and Gale either side of the ruck. He comes away this time to Gale. Now Gale, look at that. Beautiful pass in the end that came away to Davies. Now Davies puts the kick in over the top. It's coming down on the quarter line. Watch out, O'Callaghan. He took it well, and Davies is up there to effect the tackle. And now the pass has come away towards Corkery. Corkery thought about throwing it across to Chris Kinner. And certainly Scott Gale playing with a lot of confidence. When he plays with confidence, he uses class.
This was good play by the wingman. Certainly hasn't let the side down, Peter Davies. And the fullback O'Callaghan, knowing the big fellow was tearing into him.
14-0 the score in favour of the Tigers. There's plenty of time left for the Raiders. They've got to start doing something shortly to lift their flagging spirits. O'Sullivan's kick, wobbly one off the side of the boot, but it's going to be fairly effective. It's coming down towards the quarter line. Schofield gathers it up though. Schofield running it back towards the halfway. It's taken 11 metres still inside Balmain's territory. Davidson's the dummy half. He goes on his own. Lance across there. So too was Kinner. Elias from Neil. It comes away now towards Sirinen. Sirinen will play it just inside Balmain's territory. Maguire taking it up towards the halfway. Elias again. Neil, Gale. And Gale thinking about which option to take then. Almost lost that ball. He gathered it back in. Last tackle against the Tigers. Elias will kick. And there it is from Benny over the head of Matthew Corkery and into touch 18 metres out.
Magnificent kick by the skipper. And his ball distribution has been excellent today.
There's no doubt, Steve, that these Balmain players want to rid themselves of this 40-minute football tag, which has been hanging around for quite a few weeks now, and turn themselves into a complete team that doesn't just play one half. And so far we've certainly seen 50 minutes of superb football for them.
Well, the Raiders have the ball at the moment, but they're down the wrong end of the field as far as their supporters are concerned. And now Corkery running it straight across field, and David Brooks, who's had a telling effect on this match, stiffened up that defence. Pass from Gilbert. Canberra with the ball. Morrissey plays it down on the quarter line. Henjack. Now that's Jackson, who's on the field in the second half for Rowan Brennan. Still just outside the quarter line. They can't get the ball away from their own area at the moment, the Raiders. O'Sullivan gets his kick in up over the halfway, and Schofield's going to collect it on his own quarter line. Runs it back towards John Davidson's wing. Props, and he's taken by Henjack 33 metres out from his own line. Neil at dummy half. Now Davidson comes in. Another good tackle right round the bootlaces by Coyne. Elias. Now Davies in off the wing, taking a bit of pressure off the forwards. He's big and strong enough to be a forward himself. Blindside used this time, and taking it back towards the halfway is Maguire.
That's good running by the Balmain forwards. They're creating the overlap and the link.
Conlon. Now Crooks, away it goes to Schofield. He's got Davidson. He threw the dummy. Davidson came back on the inside, but they couldn't set it up. Last tackle against the Tigers, and Davidson just kicks it across the touchline.
Well, there we saw some very constructive play by the Balmain side, using the forwards to their full extent, running under the ball hard, dragging the Canberra defence into one half of the field, and then a quick link.
Canberra with the ball after they'd won that scrum. The wide pass, and Morrissey is going to play it right on the halfway line. O'Sullivan on the wrap around, getting it back as Gilbert. He even intimated during the week that he was going to give football away and go back to the land. Dean Lance. Corkery going to be pushed across the touchline, which he is in the end, but the referee's going to penalise him here. One would think that the referee had clearly asked him to play the ball in.
Well, it's hard to see on the replay, naturally, but he was moving all the time. But if the referee calls held, play the ball, he's in his right to give the penalty away.
So, second kick to be taken by Canberra, just inside Balmain's territory, as Gilbert runs it up. 12 metres Balmain side of halfway. Walters, away it comes to Coyne. Oh, look at that solid Balmain defence. And that's been a feature of their performance this afternoon. Good defence. Bacco. Bacco's gone straight through. Big Sam Bacco down over the quarter line. He's still going. He's got it away to Carey. Carey's long pass is taken by Kinner. Kinner back on the inside. He can't keep it going. But Sam Bacco busted them apart that time. Walters, away it comes. Henjack now taking it up. O'Sullivan, the wide pass away to Jackson. On it goes to Gilbert. Quick hands and it's away to Corkery. Corkery for the corner. Corkery this time is dragged across the touchline again. Only 6 metres out. But more constructive football from the Raiders that time. But it was Bacco who really initiated that good raid.
Certainly was, and good defence by Hanran and Hardwick cannon across when it counted.
Neil's got the ball for Balmain, and they'd be pretty happy about winning that football. Hardwick, 10 metres out.
Well, that was a break that the Raiders needed. It was a tremendous run by Bacco. But there was no one with him. It was only by sheer luck that he got the ball away to the centre, Carey.
The Balmain player starting to punch a little bit in front of there. Oh, look at this. Maguire's gone straight through. Neil got up on the other side of him. If he'd been this side of the field, it could have easily been a long attacking movement from the Tigers. Instead, they belt the ball down over the halfway, and O'Callaghan runs it back inside Balmain's territory. What do these coaches call it these days, Steve-O? Field position. It's about the first time that a Balmain kick has been taken when the Raiders can actually run it back inside Balmain's territory.
Never cease to amaze me, David, with these statements.
What about the tackle on Sam Bacco, David, by Michael Neal? They'll be able to call him Cowboy Michael Neal.
Well, just as well he was there. Now they're trying to rip the ball free again. And this one's going to be another penalty against Balmain. And obviously a bit of frustration there creeping into Peter Davies' game. He must be a little bit uncertain what he's going to do here.
Well, he tried to reef the ball away. Couldn't do with the ball, so tried to use his head instead.
But Canberra with another opportunity. Now here comes Big Sam again, and he's gone straight at David Brooks, and Brooks equal to the task. Had a bit of assistance, but he's almost got it to the quarter line. Walters in a dummy half. O'Sullivan, Lance, they're on the quarter line. The Raiders are desperate for a 6-pointer to get back into the game. Balmain leading 14 points to 0. The replacement, Steve Jackson, on the field, tackled on the quarter line. 22 metres out from Balmain's line. Walters, Henjack, and Henjack's dropped that ball. Carey can't pick it up. Carey's got it at the second grab, but the referee's going to rule it a knock on anyway.
Well, they're becoming their own worst enemy here, David. Canberra made a lot of mistakes in the first half, and they're continuing to do so in the second stanza.
Michael Neal from dummy half.
He's had a good game as Michael Neal. You may not have seen much individual play from him, but he has been getting the link working, getting the ball out wide when it was needed.
Crooks. The ball's loose. It's come off the foot of Bacco, but the referee's going to rule it a knock on both ways. And that might have been a bit unlucky for Canberra there.
Well, Crooks definitely knocked it on. but I think you'll find that it hits the boot here. Well, didn't look a knock on to me, but they've won possession from the scrum.
They've got the ball anyway, the Raiders, as O'Sullivan has it, 10 metres inside Balmain's territory. That's 15 metres in from touch. Lance runs it up. Walters in a dummy half. Now that's Jackson. Henjack, O'Sullivan, Gilbert. 33 metres out from the Balmain line as O'Callaghan sends it away. Again it goes to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan puts the kick in. The ball's gone into touch just outside the quarter line. And the referee coming across to put the scrum down. Well, that's one of the major reasons why Canberra are behind 14 points to 0. They've missed 26 tackles. You start missing that many, you can't possibly win football games.
No, and throw in the additional drop balls, David, of 9. As you say, makes it very, very difficult indeed. But let's not take anything away from the Balmain side. They've got themselves organised today.
Davidson there running it away.
The forwards are running together in a pack, creating this overlap, attracting the would-be tacklers.
And Surinam going straight down the centre was taken that time. Crowd appealing for a high tackle. Surinam tackle just inside Balmain's territory. They keep it going this time. Crooks, away it comes now. Quick hands at 4, finishes up with Davidson. Davidson trying to keep the movement going. The referee's going to ask the ball to be handed over to Canberra, saying that he effectively called Davidson held. So Canberra get the ball back just inside their territory. Now that's O'Sullivan.
And look at that defence. One line moving up. They're swarming all over this Canberra side.
Now they've made a mistake playing the ball when there was no dummy half. Just as well Steve Walters ran in to dive on that loose ball. It comes back to Henjack. Henjack scurrying around, looking for an opening. There's none there at the moment. Defence has been very good from Balmain this afternoon. And that's obviously reflected on the scoreboard because Canberra are yet to register a point. Now this new rule, will it be invoked here? Jackson struggling to his feet, manages to play it. Now down the centre, this is Morrissey. Back it goes to Walters. Walters away to O'Sullivan. They're trying to create something. Last tackle against the Raiders. Steve Walters in a dummy half. It goes to Henjack. Henjack evades one of the would-be defenders and then hoists it. Coming down on the quarter line. Schofield takes it, and Schofield is beautifully wrapped up by Morrissey. Good football all round. Wasn't a bad kick from Henjack. Perhaps another couple of metres higher might have given their chasers just a little bit more opportunity to put pressure on Schofield.
Well, there you saw perfect execution of catching the ball. Eye on the ball, never took his eye off it.
Jackson, there he is, Steve Jackson. He's the man that struggled to play the ball a few moments ago. He's now all right. Now Canberra have got a chance. That ball's gone loose, and it's going to be 6 to go, says the referee. Morrissey just couldn't get that loose ball back. He tried to grab it.
Well, Lady Luck certainly hasn't been on the Canberra side, but neither has the tackle.
Davies with the ball now for Balmain. You can hear that. Neal. Now that's Maguire. Good tackle that time from Coyne. He lined him up. Maguire just gave him a tap to say good tackle. Good football from Crooks now, and that's Conlon in a gap over the halfway. Conlon coming down towards the quarter line, back to Schofield. Schofield racing the line, away to Brooks. Well, it goes to Davidson, and Davidson scores! What a great try!
Super try. All came about from the beautiful ball by the English prop forward. Crooks floated a long one out to Conlon into the centres. And the simple principle of rugby league of backing up the man with the ball brings about the 4-pointer. Watch the pass from Crooks. He attracted the 2 defenders, sucked in Carey into the centres, left the gap. Conlon realised he was running out of space, back inside, and the other Englishman, Schofield, looking to get the ball alive. Brooks onto the winger, and Davidson in for a try. And you can shut the gate now. Glasses down. Now watch for the centre. He realises he hasn't got the pace. He has a quick glance inside. Good backing up by the fullback. Good anticipation, even better anticipation by Brooks. Hasn't he had a good game today? And great finishing.
So Ross Conlon, he hasn't had a good day with the boot so far, Ross, but he did kick one from here a few moments ago, so he's got the chance to add to it. Conlon moves in, and he's missed it. So he's had a terrible day with the boot, but he was very much involved in that try that seals the 2 Winfield Cup competition points for the Tigers. They lead 18 points to 0. There's no comeback now for Canberra. And John Davidson scoring that try. We said earlier in the broadcast, he's been one of the most durable club footballers that Balmain have had in recent years. It's his 8th season with the Tigers. I don't think he would have missed too many games with injury and all that time either. And he's a very consistent footballer.
What an impact the second rower David Brooks has had on this game, David. He's not only tightened the Tiger defence, he seems to have lifted the rest of the forwards. And what does he do? I put the mocker on him.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be right too, wouldn't it, Ian? As soon as Steve-O gives someone a rap, something like that happens. Scrum going down on the Balmain quarter line. Henjack puts the ball in. It's come out the Raiders' way. O'Sullivan to O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan trying to make that little break there on the fringe of the ruck. O'Sullivan again. That's Morrissey. And Morrissey is pushed off Brooks. It came away now to Carey.
And that was a great tackle by Davidson. Coming in off the wing, taking up Carey, ball and all. No chance of him getting it away.
Coin tackle. And he's 13 metres away from the Balmain line. The ball's played and it comes from Steve Walters away now. Henjack, the run round with O'Sullivan. And up there was Neil. And that's Ashley Gilbert, who's going to be tackled right on the quarter line. Last tackle against the Raiders. This is basically where they got the ball from originally when they won the scrum. O'Sullivan, the grubber kick. But back there, John Davidson, perfectly positioned, takes it safely. Billy Anderson down on the sidelines now, having moved from his lofty position at the back of the grandstand, deciding that he'd like to go down and talk to the players. No doubt probably wish to talk to a couple of the reserves that he might be sending on there in the last quarter of an hour or so. Been a great effort from David Brooks for another reason too, Mike, because his first game back since being injured. He had that arm injury, so it's even more meritorious. Gale, the wobbly kick. Corkery has it. Conlon's got him.
I think the most pleasing aspect, David, for the Balmain's point of view is that the way that they've played as a team.
And there's David Brooks, who's got the ball. Now the pass has gone loose. They've still got the ball though, the Tigers. Elias, I don't think they've finished their scoring yet. There's 15 minutes still left in the match and they're playing with a lot of confidence. Elias, Neil, short pass away to Crooks. It was marginally forward. Back it comes to Neil. Elias, the long pass away now to Gale. Away it comes to Conlon. Quick ball away it goes to Hanrahan. Hanrahan in space to Davies. Davies for the corner. He's out of one. He's still going. Back it goes to Maguire. Back it goes to Davies. Davies, can he get the pass away? No, but fabulous Balmain football. As they swung it back the other side, they're not finished with yet as it comes away now towards Gale. He slips over. Last tackle against the Tigers. Elias, on it goes to Schofield. Schofield, the pass out wide to Neil. Neil will score. He's in.
The magic of the well-timed pass brings about another 4-pointer. He barely had to show a little dummy there, but it was a magnificent pass. Just watch. Schofield does the little dummy, lets the forward run through, and the defence was shot to pieces. Different angle. Dummy there to Crooks. Long ball, missing a man out wide. Where's the centre? Nowhere there. The wingman did the right thing by sticking to his other wing, but where was the centre to take him and chop him down?
And so easy to Michael Hill, the Balmain halfback, who scores his second try of the season.
Ginger Meggs getting a bit of his Wet wiped away there. The water to cool him down. He's pretty happy with that. Conlon. Probably had the worst day he's had with the boot for a long time. Moves in from the quarter line. And that one's missed on the outside again. So 5 tries Balmain have scored so far this afternoon. They lead 22 points to 0.
Well, if there's a time when you accurate goal kicker has a poor day, a day off form, it's as well to have it on a day where your tries are going to come fast and furious.
And you couldn't hide the elation there on Paul Sirenen's face, could you, David, when Neil scored the try? He's had a superb day, Paul Sirenen. It's great to see him back in the form that won in that kangaroo berth last year.
Chris O'Sullivan, I think, leaving the field, and this brilliant youngster on, isn't he? Laurie Daly, I think so, Ian. Laurie Daly has just gone out there in number 17, replacing Chris O'Sullivan. He's a young player that many people believe has the ability to go all the way to the top.
Got big raps, David, and it's good thinking by the coach, John Ferner. He realises this game's well and truly over. Only 12 minutes remaining. Balmain leading 22 points to 0. Blood the youngster. Let him get a feel of what it's like in the first grade.
Very much involved in a great try in reserve grade, but allowed Canberra to score an upset victory. Canberra defeated Balmain in reserve grade 20-14. That was after the Tigers had taken the under-23s 34 points to 16. Canberra with the ball. Coyne's gone without it. I think they've got it back here, the Tigers. Sirenen got it or not? Referee says so. Elias, Crooks, Gale, Conlon. Conlon this time not able to get the pass away. In fact, he's lost the ball.
Well, did he hit the ground? That's the main thing. Bit of a juggling act there by Conlon.
Touch judges in. Johnny Owens coming on.
And that's a reward for this man, the second rower. He's had a big game.
Well,
he deserves the crowd's cheer.
His 100th first grade game, David Brooks, and he's had an absolute blinder, and one of the major reasons why the Tigers are back in winning form. Canberra with the ball. Just inside Balmain's territory. 11 minutes remaining in the match. As now going from dummy half as Gilbert. They all hung off him that time. Walters. Away it comes now. Coyne throws the dummy and goes on his own. Sirenen, the man who effected the tackle over there. 32 metres out from Balmain's line. Henjak puts that little kick over the top. It's come off Benny Elias's hands. It's still loose. Morrissey can't pick it up. I think the referee's going to put a scrum down for a knock on both ways.
Some changes coming up here, David. Interesting to note in jumper 21 is Graham Pearce, the brother of Wayne Pearce. And a very happy day for the Pearce boys. There's Kevin Hardwick coming off the field, and also John Davidson in the field as well, replaced by Patrick Crown, the reserve grade fullback.
There's Hardwick leaving the field. 25 tackles to his name. He's done his job.
Balmain with the ball, and now taken up as Graham Pearce. Just outside the quarter line, Elias Owens. He's wrapped up. That's 26 metres away from the Balmain line. Elias sends it away. It comes away to Gale. Quick hands away from Crooks onto Neal. Stumbled that time, Michael Neal. They're trying to get it away to Davies quickly. Crooks again coming down the centre. He's had a huge game too.
He's enjoying himself out there, David.
He plays the ball English style. By that I mean the foot didn't touch the ball. Schofield's kick. Callahan can't take it at the first attempt. He's got it on the quarter line though. And that's Graham Pearce who's going to effect the tackle. Just outside the Canberra quarter line. From dummy half is Corkery.
It's been another pleasing aspect of the Balmain play today. They've followed up the kick very well indeed. Forced the Canberra Raiders into a lot of pressure. Right down into their own quarter.
And Balmain join East on 25 points on the Winfield Cup ladder. Of course, East tomorrow have that game against Penrith at Penrith Park. Michael Neal on his own. Now that's Maguire. He's got his pass away. Pearce.
There's another change coming up here, David, for Canberra. Number 16 is about to go on. Paul Martin, the former Australian schoolboy, another exciting talent from down in Canberra.
Elias, the kick charge down. And it's 6 to go, says the referee, as Pearce is tackled. 12 metres inside Canberra's territory. Davies from dummy half.
Gee, that must have hurt right in Dean Lance's face. The full brunt of that.
Elias goes on his own. The pass comes away to Davies. He's not showing any effects of receiving that kick. Lance, he's the one involved in the tackle. And now Davies is down injured. And quickly,
well, this was
the trainer is on.
Pretty hard tackle. As you can see, he's grimacing there. But I think it's the third one that came in low. Right in the breadbasket, that one.
Davies still down in the back play. Canberra have got the ball. Down on their own quarter line. Henjack, away it comes now towards Gilbert, and Gilbert's tackle just outside the quarter line. A few metres in from touch. In fact, there's a second trainer going out there to see how Peter Davies is. And now Gilbert taking his time to get to his feet. Lance. Kinner comes in, gets away from Maguire's tackle, but he's taken then in the second one, right around the legs by Elias. This will be a penalty.
Silly penalty there. But full credit to the Canberra side there. At least they're still trying to make, but they just can't get through this very, very solid defence.
So Paul Martin coming on for Steve O'Callaghan. Canberra to kick the touch from that scoreboard side of the field. Backo going straight and hard. That pass has gone away. It's been knocked on by both those players, but the referee, I think, is going to put the scrum down. Mike Marquito coming on.
And I wonder whether it be Crooks that will reward. No, it's Maguire. Well, he's certainly played hard, as Maguire has all the forwards out for the Tigers this afternoon. Hunted in a pack. They've done their job in attack.
And there's Crooks making one of the rare errors, and there's this youngster Paul Martin who's just come on. A good jinking run there from the young player. Down on the quarter line. Pass comes away. Now that's Daly, the other youngster. And what a good tackle. Welcome to first grade. Now Backo taking it up, trying to get through that line of defence. He's held up just outside the Balmain quarter line. The Canberra players would still be hopeful of getting some points on the board. Nothing worse than going down and picking up the paper the next day and seeing nil registered against the team. Henjack, Carey, that's Corkery. Can he keep it going? He's got it back to Carey. That was well read too by Pearce. He came across and wrapped him up before he could get the pass away and keep the movement going. Henjack's kick, a high one. Coming across field now quickly is Crown. Now the ball's into the in-goal area. Now there's a bit of indecision. Oh, and Kinner almost beat them all to score a try. They're all standing there watching it, the two of them. Hanrahan was back there and Patrick Crown. And have a look at Kinner.
Well, this really was taking an afternoon stroll. Oh, this was a bad mistake. And Kinner very nearly got the first points for the Raiders.
Well, it would have been a try if the dead ball line had been a metre longer. Or a metre further back.
Well, a bit of lacklustre display there by the Balmain defence, but I suppose it's pretty difficult when you're leading the game 22 points to nil. Into the last 5 minutes.
Balmain with the ball. A beautiful pass that time from Neal away to Pearce, and Pearce is tackled on the halfway line. Plays it, Conlon. Away it comes, Gale. Away it comes now again to Neil. Michael Neil just holding the ball up and just continuing to run to the gap. They're holding off him.
He's had a big game as Neil.
Gale. Down the centre comes Sirinen. Slipped the pass away beautifully to Schofield. He's got it away, but Conlon. Conlon streaking for the line and he's in.
Well, if you think Sirinen had a big smile on his face when he scored his first try, he's an even bigger one now. He created that one, and he'll get great pleasure from it. He's been way off form. The switch of play by Gale. Look at the strength in this man. Upper body strength. Constructive, kept the ball alive. The fend by Schofield allows him enough time to feed the Conlon. Good backing up, good try. Different angle. Watch the switch from Gale and watch for the Canberra defence. They stood there waiting. Walters had a go at him. Get out of the way. Beautiful ball. Nice fend. Allows him the time to get his arms free. On to Conlon. Simple.
And Ross Conlon, the Balmain centre's 5th try of the season.
And Conlon moves in. There's the kick to convert his own try, which he does. And so his second goal of the afternoon. Paul Sirinen there, looking very happy and pleased with himself. And why not? He's had a big return to form today. Big fella would love to come off and thank Billy Anderson for the extra opportunity. Balmain leading Canberra 28 points to 0. Daly bringing the ball back to the centre of the halfway line.
And who would have thought it, David? It should pay a good footy tab, this one. It's a long time since Canberra have been zilched.
So the restart as the Tigers run it back to the quarter line. Crown is tackled just outside his own quarter line. Pearce runs it up. 30 metres out. Elias. Pass comes away to Owens. Penalty.
That really was quite amusing. He looked at the referees to say, aren't you going to give the penalty? He deserved one.
Well, Benny Elias. You can just about call him the old fox these days. 22-year-old veteran.
Amazing, isn't it, really? The amount of football that players like Elias, Schofield and Crooksey, not one of them have gone over 24 yet.
And look at Ross Conlon, he's gone straight through, looking for support. He's wrong-footed Martin, he's got it away back to Neil. The pass over the top, collected by Conlon. Conlon for the corner, he can't get his pass away. Yes, he can. In the end, it's gone loose, or has it? No, they've got it. Only a metre out from the line. Gale. Gale is forced to play the ball just outside the Canberra line. Hanrahan, Elias, he puts the ball onto his boot. Carey's lost it. I think he's got it back though. The referee says a knock back.
That was tremendous support play, David. They kept this ball alive. It really has been a change round. And this crowd, well, the last time we were here, David, they booed their team off at half-time. But it's all cheers today.
And that's it. The game is all over. Balmain have defeated Canberra by 28 points to 0. And had Ross Conlon had his kicking boots on this afternoon, it could have been a much wider margin. Well, the crowd certainly much happier today, and there's a very happy Benny Elias as he comes off. And why wouldn't he be? Skipper this afternoon, 100th first grade game.
He's guided them well, David. But it's been the team effort. Paul Sirinen back to his best, helped along by the return of David Brooks. The linking qualities of Michael Neil and Scott Gale were far too much for the Canberra Raiders.
So there we are, Balmain 28, Canberra 0 for Balmain, Sirinen, Davey, Gale, Davidson, Neil and Conlon the try scorers, and Ross Conlon 2 goals. And as we said, had he had his kicking boots on, it could have almost been 40. But Balmain just decimated Canberra. They were never really in the hunt, except for a few moments there, leading up to half-time when they could have just about snuck in to score a try, which would have given them a lot of heart. But then in the second half, Balmain went right on with the job.
They never really allowed Canberra to get into this game, David. It was the defence that laid the foundation. A tremendous all-round effort. I'm sure that on this performance, especially with the return of Brooks, he had a top game. And we saw the skills of the two Englishmen, Crooks and Schofield. They'll be very, very hard to beat from here on in now.
Let's go downstairs where I think one of the 100 game men is with Ian Hansen, Benny Elias.
Great work, Balmain's skipper Benny Elias, and I believe Benny didn't train all week.
That's right, Ian. I've had a very bad leg infection from the result of last week's game at the cricket ground. The bull I saw got into my wound and infected it pretty badly, so I was pretty lucky to be out there today and play.
And a Balmain win in your 100th game, tremendous tonic.
It certainly was, mate. It was terrific to get in front of a home crowd, to get a victory like we did today, 6 tries to zilch, and the result was terrific.
And are the Balmain Tigers back on the road now, Benny?
Well, I'd like to think so, Ian. I think we've been pretty unlucky in the last few games. I think we've got the calibre there to win the premiership, and we've got players to come back. Steve Roach and Kerry Hemsley back next week. Wayne and Gary Jack still get to come back into the side after today's game. So we're looking pretty strong at Balmain.
It's certainly been great to see big Paul Sheridan back in the form that won in the Kangaroo berth last year.
Certainly was good to see Paul play well today. He needed that for his own confidence, and in big games we certainly need Paul Sheridan in the Balmain side.
Well done, Benny Elias.
Thank you very much.
So there we are. Benny Elias, the skipper of the Balmain side this afternoon, a very happy man because today he played his 100th first-grade game, and David Brooks also played a 100th game today and certainly had a lot to do with the Balmain victory. Balmain defeating Canberra 28 points to 0. Join us again next week on ABC Rugby League when we'll be bringing you the match between Parramatta and Cronulla. But for now, let's go back to the studio.
Thanks very much, David Morrow, Mike Stevenson and Ian Hansen. Canberra not giving their semi-final backers too much hope there, but for the backers of Footy tab today, quite a handsome dividend there, $1,165.50. A couple of important races today around the states. In Brisbane, first of all, let's have a look at the 4X Cup. It went to Dandy Andy, paying $3.20 and $1.25. El Vaquero, $1.45, and Palmyra Bay, $6.15. And in the Grand National Steeple down south, Kanahai, the winner there, $15.15 and $2.45. Tangahari, 75 cents the place, and Region, 90 cents. Well, out and about tomorrow, look for the full sporting service tomorrow afternoon on Sports Arena.
In Sports Arena this Sunday, Hurricane Higgins, the most charismatic character in professional snooker. Laura Norman talks about her dream home and Greg's recurring nightmare. We trace the career of a child prodigy who's grown into a living legend. We meet the only girl mixing...
Fortunate incident, do you think, that time